So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. This is the second session of our AP series. We have already done with the AP Calculus. I would like to welcome Mr. Harshwardhan sir once again to get through us about the AP Physics, specifically AP Physics C Mechanics. So, not losing the further time again, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Welcome all of you to this webinar on AP Physics C Mechanics. Okay. We'll be focusing broadly on how to go about this exam, how to prepare, what is being covered, what are the salient features of the exam, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let me just share a screen. We'll run a presentation. All right. So AP Physics C Mechanics, okay, we'll just have a bird's eye view. We'll try to cover as much as possible today's class. And then I'll come to any queries that you have regarding the exam or regarding the prep overall. Okay. All right. So the AP exams, college boards, AP placement program, okay, it enables students to pursue a college level study while still in the high school. That means you get advanced credits for something which you're going to do once you are in the college. So the physics courses that we have here as options. So AP Physics C Mechanics is a 1 semester calculus based college level physics course. Especially for students who are planning to specialize or major in one of the physical sciences or engineering. Now, the number of students going to US for doing their engineering is very high. And for them particularly, or for people who are pursuing or going to pursue physical sciences, this particular AP is suggested because this is a course that you would surely get in the first semester of studies in US. Okay, this is the first of a two-course sequence, which is equivalent to the introductory physics sequence taken by science or engineering students at almost all the top colleges and universities. The second of this sequence being obviously the AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism course, which we'll talk about later on. Now, what is covered in this exam, first of all? Okay, so it is, as I said, calculus-based physics course that covers kinematics, dynamics, energy, momentum, rotational dynamics, gravitation, and simple harmonic motion or the oscillatory motion. If you see that this syllabus is basically a part for most of you, the standard 11th syllabus. So it's the mechanics portion overall usually gets taught in standard 11th plus the additional topic of oscillations or simple harmonic motion. Students cultivate their understanding of physics through classroom study and activities as well as hands-on laboratory work as they explore concepts like change, force interaction fields, and conservation. Now, one of the key aspects of the AP course as far as the physics mechanics part is concerned is that it is one of the subjects where you get the laboratory exposure, or this is one of the lab subjects, so as to say. So this is very important for students who are applying to all the science-based courses and also medical students, because for applying to medical courses, you need to show your proficiency in at least 2 to 3 lab-based courses. So obviously physics is one of the fundamental sciences and one of the subjects where the laboratory reports would help you a lot. What are the prerequisites for taking the AP Physics C Mechanics? Okay, students should have taken or be concurrently taking the calculus part as well. Now, over and over, we've been repeating this part that calculus, it is basically a calculus-based paper. So therefore, you must show your proficiency in the calculus portion as well. So as a combination, the AP Physics C course would work with somebody who is concurrently doing the calculus APs as well, or who plans to take the calculus APs along with the physics APs. The laboratory requirement for AP Physics C includes a hands-on laboratory component comparable to a semester-long introductory college-level physics lab. So basically, if you have taken physics in your schools, okay, I'm sure you must be doing some laboratory work. So it is suggested that you must maintain your laboratory manuals as well. Students ask questions, they make observations, predictions, design experiments, analysis of data, construct arguments in a collaborative setting where they direct and monitor their progress. Now, this is all with reference to physics as a fundamental science. So these are the attributes that the College Board looks to develop in the students by way of pushing forward this AP Physics C course. Each student should complete a lab notebook or portfolio of the lab reports, as I've already mentioned. Now, coming to the crux of the matter, what is the course content? Oh, just a second. What is the course content? So just give me a moment. Yeah, okay. Coming back to, so the course content is as follows. These are all the chapters that I'm sure all of you do study while taking up your physics course in standard 11th mostly. Unit 1, as you can see, it deals with the kinematics part. So in this, we'll basically be talking about the concepts of displacement, velocity, and acceleration, and all the equations of motion, and apply them to simple problems where we have to find the unknowns provided the other quantities are known. So most of the problems coming from this unit are objective type. Okay. Mostly the questions are based on, as I said, application of the equations of motion. The exam weighting, as you can see, for this particular topic is 14 to 20% of your exam. Now, basically, that would mean that in your exam, this particular topic would have close to 4 to 5 objective type questions in the actual test. The second unit, as you can see, is the Newton's laws of motion dynamics part, where we study the force analysis under various situations. So the key concepts that we need to learn here are of free body diagram for various situations and the calculation of net acceleration depending upon the net force acting on the body. Now, again, this is a topic where you can see that the exam weighting is close to 22%. So in this particular unit, you're likely to get, again, 4 to 5 objective type questions. At the same time, you're likely to get 1 free response question in your exam as well. So I guess this one is slightly heavier of weightage if I consider the actual exam paper. The third unit, as you can see, is again the logical extension, work, energy, and power, where we broadly cover the conservation laws, such as the conservation of energy. Okay, we also talk about the work, the concept of power, and all the problems related to calculation of work under the different forces which are acting in a lot of systems. Again, the exam weightage 14 to 17%. That means 4 to 5 objective type questions you're likely to get from this particular unit as well. Unit number 4 is systems of particles and linear momentum. Now here we basically now include the discussion about impulse, about momentum, conservation of linear momentum, and the concept of center of mass, as there are multiple particles involved. Or now we move to systems having multiple particles. So calculation of center of mass is also included in this particular unit. The exam weightage, as you can again see, is 14 to 17%, which is roughly again around 3 to 4 questions, objective type questions in your exam. Okay. Unit 5 is rotational dynamics, one of the more important units. So concepts such as torque, angular momentum, conservation of angular momentum, and motion of rolling is also included in this particular unit. The exam weightage, as again you see, is 14 to 20%. That again would mean around 4 to 5 questions, and including 1 free response question as well coming from this unit most likely. Then unit 6 is about the simple harmonic motion. So here we go through the basic introduction to oscillatory motion, then a basic harmonic motion, study of systems such as the spring mass system, study of the simple pendulum, and the related concept. The important concepts to cover from simple harmonic motion are the concepts of velocity, concepts of energy, concepts of acceleration in the simple harmonic, and the different systems where we apply these concepts. The exam weightage here is typically low, 6 to 14%. So you're likely to get just around 2 questions in the exam. And finally, unit 7 is gravitation, where again, the basic emphasis is on the study of concepts Kepler's laws and the Newton's law of universal gravitation, application of these laws to the satellite motion and the planetary motion. Again, you're likely to have 2 to 3 objectives in the actual examination. So looking at the syllabus, you see most of this syllabus is to standard 11 student, I think in almost all the board exams. So that's why I believe that AP Mechanics, the C taken by students typically at the end of standard 11th, because that is the ideal time they would have covered everything and no additional efforts would be required to prepare. All right. Now, one of the key features of this exam is the big ideas that the APs talk about, that each paper, they talk about the basic underlying concept behind a particular exam. So the big ideas, as far as the AP Physics C Mechanics paper is concerned, there are 4 big ideas about this course. Number 1 is the change. Okay, now when we talk of change here, they're talking about interactions producing change in the motion. So we're talking about the concept of inertia, we're talking about the concept of force, and what kind of changes are brought in because of application of force to the state of uniform motion or the state of rest. Okay, the second big idea is about force interactions. So basically, I've talked about this, I guess. We need to draw the free body diagrams for systems such as the pulley oriented problems or the tension force oriented problems, then the spring mass problems where we talk about the spring force, or the gravitation based problems where we talk about the gravity. Also, we have to consider different situations or different problem situations where there is a mutual interaction between different forces and we have to find the net force acting on a system. The third big idea is about the concept of field. So for example, when we talk of gravitation, there is this concept of gravitational field, which is expressed in terms of either the field intensity or the gravitational potential, where we need to predict and we need to describe the type of interactions between different bodies which are present inside that field or which are under the particular force. So for example, gravitational field, we're talking about the gravitational force. And finally, big idea 4 of this paper is about the conservation part, which is basically related to the 2 laws of conservation of energy and conservation, in fact, conservation of momentum. Now, conservation of momentum is extended to conservation of linear momentum, at the same time, conservation of angular momentum as well. So these are the 4 big ideas the exam emphasizes. And when we are preparing, actually, we should have these big 4s in our mind while preparing for the different variety or the questions that we do. Then the other aspect of this paper is the different science practices that the College Board emphasizes that a student should be able to learn when he tries to attempt this particular paper. So the following practices are important. Number 1 is visual representation. So you see a lot of questions coming on the concept of a picture, okay, or where a situation is depicted in the form of a visual, which is non-narrative or non-mathematical, and based on that physical situation or that picture, there are problems which are developed which you have to find the solution to. Second is the question and method concept, basically, where we determine the scientific questions and methods where you need to be in a position to challenge the conditions given in a problem and then accordingly find suitable models which could represent those conditions and find a solution via those models. Representing the data and the phenomena, so create visual representations or models of those physical situations, as I said. Okay, so modeling is one of the thrust areas of this paper. Data analysis, that if at all some numerical values or quantitative data is associated or the graphs are given regarding the movement of a variable with reference to another variable in a particular situation. So data analysis is another quality that we need to learn. Finally, theoretical relationships, which in layman's term you call it as. So obviously you must know all the basic formulae which are applicable in all the topics. And then finally the mathematical routines where we apply the, for example, because this is C course, so we apply even calculus to a lot of questions where we need to solve problems applying the mathematical relationships or mathematical techniques. Finally, argumentation, where we develop an explanation or a scientific argument for a particular result that we obtain. Now, mostly this is related to the laboratory work as well, because on your free response question section in the physics C paper, you have at least one question which is directly lab work or which is directly experimental in nature. So for those type of questions, you need to develop this argumentation problem, that you need to develop an explanation or a scientific argument for the problem which is given, and you need to come out with a solution for that. Coming to the exam structure. So the basic exam structure is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay, the AP Physics C Mechanics exam assesses the student's application of the science practices that we just discussed in the previous slide and understanding of the learning objectives outlined in the course framework, the big 4 ideas, as I said. So that is the basic idea. 1 hour 30 minutes test, which includes 35 MCQs or multiple choice type questions and 3 free response questions. Now, there are no options available. You have to attempt every single question in the test. Okay, a 4-function scientific or a graphing calculator is allowed on both the sections of the exam. So do anticipate some difficult calculation based problems as well, because they are allowing you the luxury of the graphing calculator to go with it. The assessment format of the exam, section 1, if we get into the details of that section 1, you have, as I said, multiple choice type questions, 35 of them, and the time allocated is 45 minutes. The 35 questions together, they will constitute 50% of your raw score. Now, please understand, this is 50% weightage. Now, on the College Board website, they do not disclose as to what is the individual weightage for every single question. No, as far as the multiple choice questions are concerned, we don't know what every question is worth. But overall, the 35 questions will constitute 50% of your exam scores. The science practices that we discussed, all of them are assessed except the one which is number 3, the visualization part here, mostly that is not there. Okay, with the free response questions, all the practices are tested. There are 3 questions overall which you have to do. All the questions are compulsory. You again get 45 minutes to solve these 3 questions. Now, these 3 questions are very lengthy, so as to say. Typically, each question would have at least 6 to 7 subparts to it. So that makes it a really long question. Now, the free response questions would contribute to the remaining 50% of your score. Okay, all science practices are assessed here. And here, very important, each question is worth 15 points. So this is a section where we know what every question is worth. So every question is worth 15 points here. So all in all, 3 questions means you have 45 maximum marks available to score in this free response section. Now, obviously, talking in terms of type of preparation required, so you would understand the fact that both these formats, that is the MCQ and the FRQ, they require a very different type of preparation, or they require basically a different bent of mind. When I'm talking of the MCQ, obviously, I have the luxury of all the available options for every single question. And that it gives me an opportunity even to make a guess sometimes, or a calculated guess, I should say, or an intelligent guess, so that I can actually score. But with the FRQs, please understand, this is a format which is more closer to your school exams, and you have to elaborate your solution to every single details, because the kind of marking that they do, they distribute the whole 15 marks for each question based on a step-by-step solution. So make sure that you do write every single step at length. I say it's a challenging task because you have to do 3 questions in 45 minutes. That means roughly you get around 15 minutes per question, where you not only have to find the solution, but you also have to write that solution, which in itself is a task. Now, obviously, depending upon which conduction you are a part of, this year, as you would be aware, there are three conductions taking place. So two of them are paper pencil based, one of them is online. Typically, the online part, as you would see, would be the last part. And it is slightly difficult to manage in that sense that when you have to go for the free response question, you have to write all of them, take that picture like the last year, you had to do, take a picture of that, then post it on the website and so on and so forth. That becomes a tedious task. So you would also have to consider this as a fact as to which administration you should be a part of. These are some sample questions. Okay, so starting with the MCQs here, for example, here you can see a particle P is located on the x-axis as shown in the figure. A force exerted on the particle is given by so and so equation. So we know that this is a variable force question. So this is typical calculus orientation here. As you can see, if I have to find the work done as is asked in this question, I have to integrate the force expression with reference to the displacement. So I'll integrate this expression and then substitute the value of the constant, put limits as 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, whatever, and then I'll be able to find the work done. So that is just a glimpse as to why calculus is required to end this physics C part. Another question here, you can see plane is moving horizontally. A package is dropped from the plane. It travels a horizontal distance. So it's basically a projectile based question, which we study in kinematics. So typically you see each question has 5 options. Okay, so 20% chances that each option would be right. I would strictly discourage any sort of wild guessing here. Okay, and objective type questions or the multiple choice type questions are something that you should target more to score if you are actually looking at a greater overall score, because going by the history, the Indian students in particular, they score more marks when it comes to the compared to the FRQs. So I guess MCQs is something that you should target to score more. Okay, but at the same time, equally adept at FRQs as well. But still, bulk of your scoring would be coming from the MCQs. And looking at the overall total score, if you see a 50% weightage for both of them, I guess out of the 50% in physics, it is very easy to score the 40%. So if let's say there are 35 questions, so on an average, getting something close to 30 is very much manageable on the AP exam when it comes to the MCQs. FRQs, 3 questions, typically people are able to do 2 or 2.5 at times, but attempting all 3 usually is a difficult task. Okay, this is type of a sample question. As you can see, a student sets up a system of 2 blocks. So we see a classic inclined plane question. And on top of the inclined plane, there is a pulley with mass M1 on one side on the inclined plane, M2 on other side hanging. So obviously, you need to draw the free body diagram. You need to analyze all the forces in the system. You need to find out the acceleration. As you can see, the overall question has close to A, B, C, D, E part, and with each part there are 1 or 2 parts, subparts. So all in all, you have to attempt something like 7 to 8 questions within one question. So the task becomes humongous, as I said, once you only have 15 minutes to write answers to all these parts, and at the same time you need to find the solution. So you have less time to think and you have less time to write the answer when it comes to the FRQ section. Scoring guidelines. This is a sample scoring guideline. As you see, every single step you see they'll award 1 point, 2 point, 1.2 points. So for example, part A 1.1.2. Okay, part B here you see for every sub step they have given 1 point each. So 3 points there. Then similarly for part C, again for every sub step they have given 1 point each. So there were 2 sub parts, so 2 points there, 2 points there. So all in all, the scoring is distributed. That is why very important that you write all the steps. Now, one thing I can tell you from my previous experiences with students who have appeared, even if you are not able to find the eventual solution, you are able to partially find the solution. You are at least able to write down or enumerate the steps which are involved in solving the problem. Still, you can score some points in the FRQ section. So it's not necessary every time that you have to reach to the very end, find the ultimate solution. you can actually score marks just by enumerating the steps as well, even if you are not the problem in its entirety. Okay, now coming to the AP Physics C Mechanics 2021 conduction. As I said, there are going to be 3 administrations. One is in school, that is Monday, the 3rd of May 2021, 12 p.m. local time. The mode would be paper and pencil. Okay, so I strongly recommend, if possible, try to appear in the first administration or the second administration itself, because doing it in a paper pencil mode would be much easier compared to doing it in the digital environment. Okay, so the second administration is on 20 May, 12 p.m. local time, that is India time. Okay, administration 3, anyways, you see the timing is also very inconvenient. It would be Wednesday, June the 9th. This is 1:30 a.m. So that would actually become June the 10th for Indians. If they are appearing from India, that is 1:30 a.m. in the night. So you can be really inconvenient. So I strongly recommend those of you who are taking it should take it either on Monday, May the 3rd or Monday, May the 24th at max. Preparation, timeline, and the resources for the preparation. Okay, so number 1, please thoroughly go through your subject books in the school. That is the elementary preparation you can make. Okay, syllabus, as I said, mostly overlaps with the standard 11th syllabus of various boards. So if you are already in standard 11th, okay, you would find that all the topics which have been mentioned here, you could directly correlate with them, as they would be most likely part of the physics curriculum as well. Those of you who are already in standard 12th, I think they shouldn't face any difficulty in handling the questions related to mechanics, because I'm very sure you've already taken this in standard 11th. So mostly overlaps the standard 11th syllabus of various boards. So ideally at the end of standard 11th, you should be taking this exam, the mechanics one. It takes about 30 to 40 hours to completely prepare for the exam. Now I'm leaving the lab work out here. I'm just plainly talking in terms of the exam. So it would take roughly 30 to 40 hours. Okay, you can distribute evenly as per your convenience these 40 hours. For example, somebody would say that, you know, I will put in 4 hours a day for 10 days. Yes, you can, but obviously a better preparation would be putting in 2 hours for 20 days. So something on those lines you need to think about when you are actually giving this particular exam. Books from reputed publishers, that is your primary source. So you can refer to any book, Barron's, Princeton, Kaplan, all those books are available. Typically, the books would also have some sample papers. So that would be a good practice. Also do refer to the AP Central website for the released papers. I think there are 2 or 3 exams which they have officially released, and all the FRQs for the past 10-15 years are available on their website. So you can do a lot of practice as far as the FRQs are concerned. The free response questions, they are all available on the AP Central website. Okay. And finally, you can always refer to the Khan Academy as well. A lot of material on websites such as the Khan Academy as well. So that is, in my opinion, the way to go about this exam in terms of its preparation timeline and the resources. Typically, I would stretch my preparation over a period of 2 to 3 months, ideally, because 1 or 2 months I like to cover all the concept, and then 1 month I would like to keep for the testing practice. Basically, I would want to appear for as many mock tests as possible, as many practice tests as possible before taking the actual exam. So roughly, I would want to spread it over a period of 2 to 3 months, where I cover all the relevant concepts, and at the same time, I also get practice for the actual tests. So questions, I'll just go through the Q&A here.
So that was really a great session. I mean, like, such a crisp, and still you could present everything about it. Like, what would be the big ideas about it? What are the different skills you need to develop, and what are the resources? How shall be your preparation? And like, it was really a too much detail. I really liked the whole presentation. Thanks a lot. I would like to curate the questions for you, sir.
Sure.
So firstly, is it a good idea to take both mechanics and electromagnetism?
Actually, it is a good idea, because see, it's like it is spread over 2 semesters in the US. So taking the mechanics after 11th and taking the electricity after 12th is actually a very good idea, because then they fall in that category, you know, where They are exactly as per the syllabus which is being taught to you in standard 11th and 12th respectively. So if you're taking the C part and you're taking mechanics, I would strongly recommend that you also take the electricity magnetism, so that it completes the chain basically that they follow in the US as well. So yeah, that is a good idea to take both of them, but I would suggest take the first after 11th, the second after 12th, if that is possible.
Okay, so yeah, strongly recommended to have a complete package of this APs. Next question to you, sir, is how many percent of marks needed to get 5 as a score?
Well, you obviously that would depend on a particular conduction or the exam. But if I just go by a broad ballpark figure, I would say anything in excess of 65% should get you a 5. Anything in excess of 65 to 70% should get you a 5 easily.
Okay. Okay. So next question is this year in administration 3 there are no free response question. So will the time limit be still the same?
I don't think so, although there is gray area on this. As of now, they have not clarified totally about this on the website. I would strongly recommend that please be in touch with the website, because ultimately they keep on posting the updates on the AP Central website. So please do go through these updates as and when they appear. But as of now, they have not clarified this issue.
Okay. So what is the format for the digital test for the AP Physics C Mechanics?
Yeah, again, the same thing. The overall instructions are not out as of now. Okay, I can just share the previous year's experience. Last year, what they did was that you could log in at that specified time, and then they showed you the question. You had to actually, the most convenient way obviously was to write the answers, take a snap, post it, or upload it on the website, or the other way was to type in. Now, obviously, you see with maths and physics, the basic problem is all those symbols, etc., which you find. I mean, not all of us are very adept at typing everything. So most of us actually opt for writing it, taking the pictures and uploading it on the website. That is the process in the digital format.
Okay. Thank you for answering one more question, sir. Next question is, sir, I am in class 11 and would be moving in class 12. So when should I apply for the APs?
I think, as I said, this particular paper, you're just in time. You should actually apply this year's conduction for the mechanics paper at least, because I'm sure you would have covered the syllabus, so it should be fresh. So with a 2 to 3 months of good preparation for the May conduction, you would be in good shape to take this exam.
Sir, is this AP recommendable for computer science?
Very much, yes, because mostly, as I said, engineering and science, physical sciences background, they would look for proficiency in subjects such as calculus or physics. So any kind of engineering, yes, it is recommended.
Okay. So the last question for you is, as there are no FRQ questions for the digital exam, does that mean the MCQ questions difficulty would be more?
Again, it brings us back to the same discussion. As of now, the digital exam, the whole scheme of the exam is not very clear. They haven't specified as to what would be the pattern of the digital conduction this particular year. So honestly, I'm not in a position to comment, but I don't think that the FRQs or etc. would not be there. I am not very sure about this.
Okay, so a few more questions have arisen.
Yeah.
Will a graphing calculator be allowed on the exam?
Yes, yes. Allowed for both the sections. Okay, and it is actually required also.
Okay. Would you recommend this course for doctors?
Yes, very much. As I've said, it is one of the fundamental sciences. And if you want to get into medical sciences, you need to show your proficiency in at least 2 to 3 laboratory-based courses. So physics obviously falls in that category, one of the strong, competitor with chemistry as well as, maybe biology even. But for that matter, strong lab work can be demonstrated by, the physics test.
Okay. And one more question, sir. Is there any problem giving the APs before SAT?
No, there is. I mean, see, both the things are different. So I don't think there is, any problem as to giving one would create any problem for the other. I don't think there is any case for this kind of interference.
Okay. So I guess all the questions have been answered, and it was really a superb session. I mean, it was such a detailed session in such a short span of time that anyone could get a complete gist of what exactly AP Physics C test means, how exactly the scoring pattern is, how exactly the preparation thing is. So thank you very much. And before leaving, sir, there is a last question. I would like to take that. Uh,
Sure.
Please. If I want to pursue a chemical engineering degree, would giving both AP Physics C test be useful?
Yes, again, because as I said, all the engineering courses, semester one and semester two, you would have the mechanics and the electricity paper.
Hmm.
So if you are taking the APs, you get those extra credit in advance. So yes, suggested. If you are after, if your aim is to get credits, surely suggested.
Okay, sir. I guess that has cleared all the queries. Thank you once again a lot for giving us such insights about AP Physics, sir. And
Pleasure.
I would like to ask, welcome, sir. I would like to ask everyone to stay tuned to for our next session at at 4 p.m. So see you at 4. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you.